What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the January 9th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. So right off the bat, we found out for next week we're getting Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jey Uso, courtesy of Kayla Braxton. So after what happened on SmackDown last night at the very end there, with Jey and Roman beating up on Shinsuke, and now we're going to be getting those two, or Jey and Shinsuke rather, next week on the show, because they allowed Adam Pearce to pin Nakamura to become the number one contender to the title instead. I would love to see Nakamura in the title match at the Rumble, and not that it makes perfect sense, because Nakamura's done a lot of nothing lately, but it was at the Rumble itself that Nakamura tossed out Roman Reigns to win the Rumble itself 3 years ago. So they could always revisit that if they want. They've only had one match, I think, on the show. I know they had an Intercontinental Championship match on SmackDown about a year ago, but other than that, we have not seen a whole lot of Nakamura versus Reigns. So I know Nakamura has been terribly booked lately, but if they wanted to go in that direction, I would be all for that. So we're getting Nakamura and Jey Uso next week. Heyman also apologizes right off the bat for Kayla Braxton for how she acted towards Jey Uso last week. In his words, bullying him, making him feel uncomfortable, just berating him, being rude. And Kayla I thought Kayla came across great on this episode. And sometimes she'll try to stay serious and she can't keep it together and she starts laughing or smiling. I gotta praise Kayla here. They are just, I say this every week, but it's just so much better than Raw talk. Charlie is just, she's not serious, she's not believable, she just comes across as fake. Kayla sometimes with what they're scripted, what they're giving her to say sometimes is not the greatest. But her performance on this episode, more so than almost any other, which I'll get to momentarily, I thought was great. She acted so annoyed at Heyman, saying, listen, we're not doing this today. Whatever this is, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting into it with you today. So Sonya Deville comes out. She's very excited to be back after 4 months off. Not only for her future, she says that 2021 is going to be the year of Sonya Deville and also the year of SmackDown. And she's trying to promote the blue brand and the fact that she's this new top executive on the show now, blah, blah, blah. So she says that the authoritative role is a good fit for her, and she also teases big things for SmackDown moving forward. She and Kayla bicker a little bit before she walks off. So the next people they have on are Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the brand new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Kayla congratulates them right off the bat. But she also does say she questions whether their victory was legit, and obviously they beat the Profits, but she brings up how they had to attack Montez Ford's leg to do it last week. Heyman defends that and says, listen, I don't think that attack was justified, but it was successful, and they were merely taking advantage of the opportunity. They pinned Montez Ford, they beat up on him, and they became tag team champions. And Ziggler said that they have to make their own opportunities. And Ziggler says, listen, it should not be understated that we beat the undefeated Profits. They beat them a couple of weeks ago, but other than that, the Profits really have not lost much at all in the last year. Because I said this in my SmackDown review, but they won the Raw Tag Team titles in March. They held those titles up until October, and technically it was a new reign, but they traded the Raw Tag Team titles for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, so they were never beaten for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, for the Raw Tag Team Championship. So really, this is their first title loss on the main roster. And they've been champions consistently for 10 months now, since early March, which is wild. But yeah, so that is a big win for Ziggler and Roode, and I'm sure the rivalry will resume, and the Profits will try to get their belts back, which they very well could. So the last part of the show I thought was the best part. The last guest is Apollo Crews. Cheap plug, check out my exclusive interview with Apollo Crews right here on the channel and over on dailyddt.com from Friday. We had a great chat, and he hinted at a lot of the stuff that he said here. He really heavily teased the heel turn. And I had one nitpick with Cruz's performance, which I'll get to at the end. But I thought he was great here. Probably the best and most, believable that he's been since he's come to WWE in terms of a performance that's like serious and straightforward and not smiley. And he even said as much in their interview, saying that, listen, I really haven't evolved at all since I got here. It's really time for me to get serious, get aggressive, and take what I think is mine. So Kayla says that Apollo's story is far from over, and Apollo says, listen, I'm experiencing a lot of emotions right now. A lot of them aren't very good, but I did think that I won. He thought that he won in pinning Big E's shoulders down on the mat, which he did. It was a draw, so Big E, it was a draw between the two. They both had their shoulders down on the mat, so when they came back from commercial, they restarted the match. Big E won that. He didn't take advantage of the opportunity. But he does acknowledge that Big E beat him fair and square. But he wants another shot at that Intercontinental Championship, and he demands a rematch for next week's SmackDown. This is where Paul Heyman comes in and works his fucking magic. So Heyman says flat out, listen, Apollo, this is going to sound like I'm being rude to you, but it's a compliment. You screwed up. You pinned the champion's shoulders down to the mat. You did. He pinned you too, but you also pinned the champion's shoulder down to the mat. And in any other situation, you would become champion, but it was a draw. So you had another opportunity. You should have been given more time to get another shot at the championship. I'm assuming that he means when he says that Apollo screwed up, he means that, oh, you should have waited a week to get your shot as opposed to asking for it right then and there. I'm not really sure what he meant by that specifically, because it's not like he slipped up or whatever. Big E beat him fair and square. And he says that his emotions in that moment, probably asking for the rematch immediately, got the best of Apollo. And he says, listen, you're a wannabe challenger, and I want you to come back to the show in a couple of weeks as a champion and like a man. And that's when we go off the air. The only thing I did not like about this was how Apollo Crews was like literally huffing and puffing by the end of this. And I know what he was doing. He was doing it on purpose to show that he was frustrated. That was the only part of this I would have not, they didn't need that. It just felt unnecessary. It felt forced. Where he was like twitching his nose a little bit, which is what people do when they get pissed, obviously. And he was like huffing and puffing and breathing in really heavily. Like that Lars Sullivan interview, although it wasn't audible here, that Lars Sullivan interview from a couple of months ago on SmackDown. Otherwise, I thought, Crews showed a lot of rage here without even saying anything at all. And when we spoke in our interview, he said that he hasn't been a heel since he was over in Japan 5-6 years ago. 7 years ago at this point, because he signed with WWE in 2015, which is wild to think about. It's been that long. But yeah, it's been a while since he was last a heel, and he's very excited for that opportunity, and it looks like we might be going in that direction. This might be just their way of getting Crews more serious. Either way, I think it's a big plus. Crews is awesome. I'm very happy they're using him in a meaningful manner, and even though he lost on Friday, he really gained a lot here with this interview. So I thought this was a great way to close it out. And Heyman, as always, really bringing the best out of the guests. So this was a very good episode of Talking Smack overall. Sonya's always entertaining. Ziggler and Rude got their point across as the new tag team champions. And the Crews and Heyman exchange was just terrific. Just terrific stuff. But yeah, 2 thumbs up for Talking Smack this week for January 9th, 2021. Check it out right now on the WWE Network. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit the bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. And yeah, that's about it. Like I said earlier, check out my exclusive interviews right now from this past week with Keith Lee from Monday, also on Bleacher Report, with Apollo Crews from Friday, also on dailyddt.com, and with Stone Cold Steve Austin from Friday as well, also on Bleacher Report. So all 3 of those interviews in audio form are up right now here on the channel. If you're not subscribed, what the hell are you fucking waiting for? You get SmackDown and Talking Smack reviews every single Saturday or Sunday. Last week it was Sunday, but usually they're on Saturday. Total Bella's reviews, Ms. and Mrs. reviews, hashtag AskGSM, the weekly Q&A video, excerpts from my podcast discussing the week in wrestling, exclusive interviews, Raw Talk reviews, and so much more. Broken Skull Sessions reviews. I'll be breaking down the one with Bailey on Monday, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, subscribe today. You'll never miss a video, and you won't regret it. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.